nothing to spoil their friendship, and the world around was beautiful. God even gave Adam a job to do, to give names to the animals. That would be really good fun. And he said to them, you can eat anything that's in the garden. Look at all those fruit trees. Just go and take them. But listen, said God, in the middle of the garden, there's one tree that you mustn't go near. The fruit on that tree looked good, but if you take the fruit and eat it, you'll begin to die. All right, said Adam and Eve. We have plenty of fruit. We'll go nowhere near that one. And everything went on fine for a while until one day Eve was a little too close to that tree, and she heard a voice which said, Eve, why don't you try some of this one? Eve thought to herself, I know God's voice and I know Adam's voice, but who's that? And she looked up into the tree, and there was a serpent, a snake. It was actually God's enemy, disguised as a snake. God's enemy wasn't pleased with the world at all. He hated all the beauty, and the thing that he hated most was that Adam and Eve and God were friends. Why don't you try some? He said to Eve. Eve said, because God said that if we eat this fruit, we'll begin to die. Did God really say you would die? He knows that if you eat this fruit, you'll be as wise as he is. And so Eve looked at the fruit and she thought, yes, it does look good, and it probably wouldn't hurt just to, like nibble a little bit and see how it tastes. So she opened her mouth and she took a bite, and she was surprised that it was sweet and it tasted good, and it didn't make her feel sick or anything. And Adam came and said, Eve, you can't do that. You'll die if you eat that fruit. But look at me, said Eve. I've just had some. Do I look sick? Am I dying? No, thought Adam. So why don't you try some too, said Eve. So Adam took the fruit and he bit some too. And it's true, they didn't suddenly sort of die and fall onto the ground, but something inside them died. It was almost like their friendship with God had been broken. And when God came in the evening to walk with Adam and Eve, he couldn't find them anywhere. He had to call for them. Adam and Eve, where are you? They came out from behind some bushes, and God said, what's the matter? But he knew that they had disobeyed him. And God was very, very sad. Not just because they'd eaten the fruit, although it wasn't about that, but he was even more sad that they had disobeyed him, and now their friendship was broken because God still loved Adam and Eve, but now something new had come into the world. Something that the Bible calls sin. It's an old-fashioned word, but it just means anything you do, or anything that you think, or anything that you say that's bad and that's against God. And when Eve and Adam took the fruit, they disobeyed God, so that was like doing something. Sin had arrived. And it was almost as if something new had been put on Adam and Eve. A little bit as if they'd started to collect a collection of all the things they'd done wrong. It started as a small collection, but when God saw Adam and Eve, he said, I'm sorry, you can't live here anymore. You're going to have to leave the garden. And I'm really sorry, because I'm not going to be able to come and walk with you anymore. Our friendship's been broken, and I still love you, but it's all been spoiled. And after that, it was a bit like a disease had got into the world. Because when Adam and Eve had children, their children did things that were wrong as well. They thought things and said things that were against God. So they began to make their own collection. It was as if the whole world had been torn. It had been so beautiful and so perfect, and now it had been ripped up, and new things had come into the world. So as the world grew, there were wars and people were fighting against each other. No, said God, I don't want that. Some people live in parts of the world where they don't have enough water and food, and then God looks and he sees in other places like our country, there's plenty to eat and plenty to drink. No, says God, why can't you share? And then God sees that in some places people get left out when their friends are playing, and some people even get bullied because some people think that they're stronger than other people. God looked at it and he said, no, I love you, but I hate all this bad stuff that's going on, all this sin. What am I going to do? Now I need some people to help me. 2 volunteers who are outstanding at doing arty things.
Oh,
Do you? You better come then. Would you pass me my pen pot down there? Is there a pen pot? Wonderful, wonderful. Just remind me your name, I should know by now. Eloise. Okay, Eloise, there's your piece of paper. And choose your weapon, your felt tip. There we are. You're going to use any colour you like. A gentleman. Yes, you're a gentleman, out you come. And you're very good at art. Okay, now listen, I know that your lovely teachers, when you're doing some art, will say to you, do it neatly and do it carefully, is that right?
Yes.
But today, is it hard? Just remind me your name.
Alfie.
Alfie. Okay, when I say go, I want you to scribble. The kind of scribble that you would do, not to produce a nice piece of art, but just make a mess. Do you think you could do that for me?
Yeah.
We're going to count down from 10 just to help you, okay? A real big messy scribble. Are you ready? Yeah. On your marks, get set, go. 10, 9, 8, scribble, scribble. 7, 6, yeah, 5, good. 4, stop scribbling. 3, 2, 1. Stop scribbling. Oh, now we have to decide which is the worst. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Eloise's.
If you think Eloise's is the worst, put your hand up. If you think Alfie's is the worst, gosh, I think Alfie has won the worst picture competition. Well done, both of you. And I know that actually you're both really good artists. Can you sit yourselves down?
If you told me to draw a person, I could do it.
Yeah,
Really well.
I believe that. I believe that with both of you. Sit yourselves down then. Well done, thank you. Hey, do you know, when God looked at the world he had made, which had been so beautiful, he thought, it's been spoiled, it's been wrecked. So God had to choose what he was going to do. It started beautiful, but now it was spoiled. What am I going to do? I suppose God could have done this. He could have scrumpled up the world and said, I'm just going to get rid of them all. All those people. They keep doing bad stuff. They keep spoiling the world. I'm just going to start again somewhere else. But God didn't do that.